and welcome to India Inc. 2.0. I'm Nayantara Rai. Today, we're going to be in conversation with the 28-year-old Parth Jindal. He's the only son of the steel baron Sajjan Jindal and the heir apparent of the $11 billion JSW Group. Hi, Parth.
Hi.
Thanks for inviting us over to your corporate office. I want to understand that you're the heir for this $11 billion JSW Group. Right now, you seem to be focusing on cement. Is this your baby? Is this what you wanted to do? Did you always, first of all, wanted to join the family business?
No, so I first of all, I wouldn't call myself the heir. I think I'm just, one of the members of the family who's joined the business, and I'm looking after the cement vertical and trying to diversify the group into new businesses. We're getting into paint. We started a sports vertical. So I didn't always know whether or not I wanted to be in the family business.
There was no pressure? Was that a choice you could have ever made?
So my parents never forced me. They never told me that, you have to join the business or it's expected of you or anything like that. It was always inferred in many ways that, you'll one day join the business, or you might join the business. Or we spent a lot of time growing up in the factories whenever my father was there. So I always enjoyed seeing him work, and I always enjoyed seeing what he was doing. So it was always something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
So like, for example, both my sisters, they haven't joined the business yet. But they might one day. It's still an option open to them. And in such a large group now, it would be right to say that anyone's an heir. I think the groups
but
are
you will take over from Mr. Sajjan Jindal. One day you will be the chairman and managing director of JSW Group. Or are you saying that you could even be a professional?
I could be a shareholder.
Okay.
I could remain a shareholder. As my sisters will be. I could just be a shareholder of the group. I could be a shareholder of the steel company. I might not be the one who is the most educated or the most qualified person to take over the steel company. It could be a professional. So
but you have already started working with steel, in the sense that I understand you're in charge of the US business, and you have successfully turned that around this year. Is that right?
So yes, the US business is doing much better now.
No, I believe it's turned positive. It's in the green now. It was in the red last year.
It's positive on an EBITDA level.
Okay.
And I am involved in the steel business, but that doesn't mean that that means I would take over from my father. It could just well mean that I'm doing my job, and whatever responsibilities are given to me, I have to complete them well. And that's it. And it should be what's best for the company and what's best for the shareholders.
So was it your idea to start with cement? To start your journey at JSW with cement? Was that your idea?
No. So when I came back from my undergrad from Brown University, I spent 6 months working for a hedge fund in New York, and then I spent 6 months working for JFE Steel in Tokyo, where I was undergoing training in undergoing mechanical as well as technical as well as marketing training on how JFE deals with auto customers over there. So when I came back, my father was like, listen, you can join JSW Steel. You're very interested in marketing, you're interested in finance, you're interested in IT, you're interested in HR. Why don't you join? You have a choice of joining JSW Steel, but I'm there, and the company is doing very well, and you might make a department function better. You might do something better than they're currently doing, but it's not going to be a big impact. You're not going to make a huge impact because the company's already got very good management and doing well. So why don't you explore what you want to do at the group, and then come back to me. So I spent 6 months just understanding. I was an economic analyst. I was just understanding what the group was. I was reporting into the head of strategy for the group. And I saw that we had a couple of companies that were loss-making. Okay. So the US steel business was losing money. JSW Cement at the time was losing money. So I went to my father and I was like, Dad, it would be great if I could get an opportunity to turn something around. It's not being looked at properly right now, and I think I can make an impact. And if it doesn't do well, it's losing money now, we're going to divest it or sell it off. So he's like, okay, you have 6 months, why don't you give it a shot, and if you can do well, then you can run it. So I took over JSW Cement at that time. This was 2013, and yeah, and then after that, the company, we've been able to turn it around, and now we're expanding.
So let's talk about that expansion plan. You have turned around JSW Cement. You've also relied on inorganic growth. What can we expect next from JSW Cement?
Right now, we're about a 9 million ton cement company. We're going to be 12 million tons, by the end of next quarter. And organically, we're looking at expanding this capacity to about 17 million tons by 2019. We have acquired a very small company called Shiva Cement. My idea is to take JSW Cement to about 20 million tons by the end of 2019.
So you're going to almost double it?
Almost double it, yes.
So we'll do that all organically?
So organically and Shiva Cement, these two together, plus so it's all the construction is already in the pipeline. We're putting up a 2.5 million ton facility in Bengal. We're putting up a 1.2 million ton facility in Orissa, in a place called Jajpur, and we're expanding in Fujairah. We're putting up an integrated unit in Fujairah as well. So all the work for this is underway already.
So how much are you investing to almost double the capacity?
So we're investing a total of 2,500 crores, and the reason why the investment seems low for the amount of capacity we're adding is because most of the capacity we're adding is grinding units, and our strategy is that our grinding units are going to be port based. So the clinker can either come from our own clinkerizing unit in Fujairah, or it can come from imports.
Okay.
So that's why it's a low CapEx.
But don't get me wrong, I would imagine that, working at the JSW Group, being groomed by a father, you are also, it's in your DNA to dream big, to think big. And with the capacity you're talking about, you're still going to be a very small player in cement when compared to the big boys, the men. How are you going? Do you have aspirations to be talked of in the same breath as whether it's an Ambuja or an ACC or an Ultratech or a Lafarge?
So I think I do, but we have to be cognizant of the cycle or the life cycle of the company. It's a very new company. It was only launched in 2012. So from a company starting out in 2012 to becoming a 20 million ton company by 2019, I would say that that's very significant growth. I think it's also very important that in cement you don't leverage, you don't get highly leveraged.
Which is something you can learn from the people who are having to sell their companies and assets.
Exactly.
That's a big lesson, right?
Exactly. So my idea is to go to 20 million tons and then do an IPO.
Okay.
And then once I do the IPO, that would give me funds to expand from 20 to 30 and beyond.
So when are you planning the IPO? After hitting 20?
Yes. So
after hitting the capacity of 20 million tons?
Yes. My idea is end of 2019, early 2020. Just after the general elections is when
after the general election
would be the right time.
You're from Harvard. I'm sure you have a vision document down to every detail and target that you have in mind. So you will know what you want, whether you choose to answer it or not. What kind of valuation will you seek at the time of the IPO?
So that depends on the...
I know on market conditions, etc. But like I said, I'm sure you have a target. You have that vision document.
Yeah, so I think, it obviously depends on how much EBITDA we're able to generate. We're a low cost model, whereas our capex is very low, our operating costs are very low. So the valuation is hopefully
ballpark
good.
Figure?
It's a tough one, but ballpark 20,000 to 25,000 crores.
Is the EV that
EV would be about 30,000 crores.
Okay.
And we would hopefully have we have a full set of projections, but market cap roughly we would target anywhere northwards of 20,000 crores.
And you would be the majority shareholder?
Yes, it's
or JSW Group would
it's
be?
100% owned by the family at the moment, by my father, and we would dilute that stake.
Okay. What about paints? It seems logical that you want to move into paints because you have steel, then you have cement, then you have paints. Where have you reached as far as your targets for the paint business go, and what can we expect next?
So right now we're in the phase of ramping up our team. The construction activity of our industrial unit has already commenced. The decorative line in Karnataka would commence over the next quarter, and we hope to launch both the decorative as well as the industrial lines by the middle of next year.
So how much are you investing in paints at the moment?
1,000 crores.
1,000 crores.
1,000
So right now you're in charge of these two enterprises with a rough investment of about 3,500 crore rupees.
Additional investment, yes.
Additional investment.
Yes.
So Parth, with that we'll take a short commercial break. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. You're watching India Inc. 2.0. Welcome back, you're watching India Inc. 2.0. I'm Nayantara Rai and today we're in conversation with Parth Jindal. We're in fact at the JSW Center's corporate headquarters in Mumbai. Parth, you know, there is always this pressure sometimes on sons that they have to follow their father's footsteps. I found it rather interesting when I was reading about you that you actually left engineering midway. Why was that the case and was that taken well by your dad?
So growing up, my father always wanted me to be an engineer. Like, he never said it, he never would...
You're lucky, my father really wanted me to be an engineer.
For me, he's my biggest inspiration and role model, and I always wanted to make sure that you know, he's proud of me and happy of the job that I'm doing. So I tried to be an engineer. And I went to university at Brown and I took up mechanical engineering. And 2 years into it, I was struggling. I was really struggling. I came back and that summer, luckily, Three Idiots was playing in the movie. And
did you see it with him?
I went with him for the movie, and I owe a lot to Amir Khan, and I think he's changed my life. So we went for the movie and we saw it, and you know, suddenly in the middle of the movie, like I was like, Dad, this is exactly my story.
Life.
This is my life. I can't do it. Can I please drop out of engineering? Can I move? I really enjoy political science. I really enjoy economics. I really enjoy business. Can I study that? So he was like, you know, why didn't you tell me before? There's absolutely no problem. There's no compulsion in business. You don't need to be an engineer. In fact, he's the only engineer in the whole family, in the whole Jindal family. Amongst all the brothers, he's the only qualified engineer. So he said, you know, absolutely no problem. After coming into the business, I've obviously understood and realized that if I was an engineer, it would have definitely helped me. So I do see that, but I didn't enjoy it. So and
you were lucky that your father was supportive about it. I mean, there are lots of instances when maybe the fathers are not very supportive of what their kids want to do.
He's been incredibly supportive, not only about engineering. He's been extremely supportive. Like, which father gives their 23-year-old son the opportunity to run a cement company? Which father says that, you know, go and turn around the US plant, I won't interfere, I won't get involved, it's all on you. Do it, however you do it, you fail.
And is he happy with what you've done? I mean, we talked about it earlier. Is he happy that you managed to turn it green and then we look at the EBITDA?
You'll have to ask him, but he never praises.
He doesn't praise?
No, he doesn't praise, but the fact that I'm still living at home and working here means he's happy.
He's happy. You still got your job.
Yeah.
Talking about the US operations, you know, there were a lot of rumors at one point that you were going to exit. Was there ever any truth to that? And are you still looking to exit now that you managed to turn around the US business?
So the US business went through a very tough time. We bought it in 2008 and then the financial crisis hit. And then after that, the entire oil and gas industry over there went into a tailspin. So we were really struggling for a long time, and we actually shut down the plant in 2011, and we were looking for strategic exits. But at that time, the entire steel industry was going through turmoil. So the valuations that people were offering us were far below what we had paid for those assets. But now, since the presidency has changed, since the entire manufacturing outlook in the US has completely changed.
And you're an American company in America?
Yeah, we're made in America, but we're not melted in America. So that's why now, as a part of our strategy into the US, we are looking to backward integrate. And you know, as we speak, we're evaluating those opportunities and would take it to the board of JSW Steel to see what they feel about, you know, backward integrating, actually melting and manufacturing steel in the US. So
but would that come at the cost of the Indian operations?
No. So the investment size is not very large, and
how much could it be?
Anywhere between $400 to $500 million. But it would give us the advantage of reducing our entire cost curve over there, because currently the the steel is coming either from Mexico, from Brazil, or from India.
Which is not going to go down well.
Which is not going to go down well with the presidency there, and it's also, you know, your costs are higher, you're unnecessarily shipping steel all the way from India to the US, you're paying freight, all those cost benefits will come and we'll be able to modernize. And we're located in Texas, which is the hub of you know, natural gas. So we'll be able to access very cheap natural gas, which, you know, bodes well for an electric arc furnace and a slab caster. So we're evaluating all these options.
So there is a global aspiration as well, clearly, right? Because once you have your base in America, you can also service other markets.
So I would say the aspiration, I mean, we are not really, I mean, I personally don't really feel the pressing need to be global. I think that there are so tremendous opportunities in India. I think we have a significant competitive advantage in India. We're one of the few groups that have been able to add capacity in India and keep our balance sheet very, very strong across steel, energy, cement.
Like you're buying out distressed assets.
So exactly.
So what happens when you and your father may not agree on something? I'm guessing
he prevails.
He prevails,
yeah,
obviously,
of
right?
course.
But then do you think back and say that, okay, why he's right?
No, see, at the end of the day, he's the one who's created this entire group.
So you're mature enough to say my dad is, or you may not always be mature to say my dads are always right. You could be right some of the times.
I mean, being right or wrong again is relative, but at the end of the day, he's the one who's created this group. He's the one who's currently in the driving seat. He's the one who's growing it, and you have to respect the success of someone, and he, at the end of the day, the final decision is always his.
So did he groom you from the beginning, like, or did you always come here as the son of Mr. Sajjan Jindal, or did you have to work your way up? How did it go?
No, so I think that I always, you know, he always tried to teach me. He always took me to the factories with him. All our holiday homes are built in the factories, so we always spent a lot of time in the factories, and he would always make sure that I walked with him in the factory, sit with him in the office, see how he's conducting work. Even now, whenever I get a free moment, I just go and observe him. I just go and sit on the side and watch him work. So I don't think, I mean, I think he intentionally did all of these things just to show me how business is conducted and what he does. And I think my grandfather did that with him as well. Okay. But personally, I think what I'm doing right now is that you know, by taking over the loss-making companies and turning them around, growing small businesses into large businesses, I'm trying to create a niche for myself. I'm trying to, you know, I'm very proud of the companies I'm working for and the companies that I'm leading, and I want those companies to become big companies. So whether or not that means that I would go on to take over from him, I'm not really worried or bothered about that. That has to be something that the group decides.
Which is why I'm talking to you. I want to know what the vision of the group is going to be going forward. One hint you've given, that India is going to be the main market. It does not necessarily have to be a global company. You started diversifying. You know, you've turned cement around. You're entering paints. I'll get to sports in a bit. What else can we expect? We keep hearing about these electrical cars, electrical scooters.
Yes, so we are very keen on entering the electric mobility space. My father and the group were working on two separate projects. One is the electric four-wheeler, the second is the electric two-wheeler, and that would be the next diversification of the group. So I think, again, we're looking at opportunities.
Is that something you're spearheading?
No, the four-wheelers is being spearheaded by my father, the two-wheelers is being spearheaded by me.
Why is that the case?
Completely different businesses.
Really?
Yeah, completely different manufacturing process.
There'll be different manufacturing facilities as well?
Yes, there would possibly be
different assembly lines for the four-wheelers and the two-wheelers?
100%. You need different assembly lines, whether they're co-located or not, that we can decide. But we're working with two different, we're talking to two different partners as well. For
global partners?
Global partners for technology and for those sorts of things, and in advanced stages.
The Tesla?
No, in India that wouldn't work. We need to be a low cost.
You have to compete with, for example, Bajaj, who is trying to make.
In two-wheelers, Bajaj and Hero and TVS. In four-wheelers, you have to be competitive with Marutis, with the Hyundais, with the
So when can we expect this to start fructifying?
I think there would be some positive announcements over the next 2 quarters about the tie-up and about the facility coming up, etc. And I would say commercial launch for the two-wheelers would be sooner than the four-wheelers, because it's.
Oh, you're beating your dad?
No, it's
to the finish line.
It's a simpler process. So.
Okay. And what kind of investments will the group be making in this?
So it's too preliminary. I wouldn't know the numbers right now, but I think the overall investment.
I guess it'll also depend on the partner.
Yes, but the investment would primarily be driven by JSW, and the partners would be more technology partners, not equity partners.
Okay.
So I would say the car project would roughly be about 3,000 to 4,000 crores again, and the two-wheeler project would roughly be 1,000 crores again.
And this will be for the Indian market, or you could look to export it?
Yes, in Southeast Asia, the Southeast Asia market.
I want to now talk about sports. As a huge sports fan, first of all, thank you for putting money into sports. We actually need industrial houses to do that. Yes. What's the experience been like with football? I'll begin with that first.
So it's been absolutely amazing. So when I came back from college, I'm a big Arsenal fan. So every weekend I would be watching Arsenal, and if we won, we'd be very happy. If Arsenal lost, I would be very sad. And my father never understood why I would get so emotionally attached to Arsenal. So he asked me one day when I was watching Arsenal, and he was like, Parth, can you even name 5 Indian players, Indian footballers? So I said, Dad, I can maybe name Baichung Bhutia. He's like, Baichung retired like 6 years ago. I said, oh, okay. I was like, okay, Sunil Chhetri. I was like, that's it. So he's like, see, you're supporting Arsenal, you're so passionate about football, you play 3 times a week. Why don't you do something for Indian football? Why don't we improve Indian football? So I was like, okay, that's a great idea. So, what did you have in mind? So he said, why don't we take a club? Why don't we start a new club? And at that point of time, AIFF was coming out with bids for the Bangalore franchise. So we took the Bangalore team and created this team from scratch, and it's been an amazing experience. And now 50% of the national team squad is from
this,
Bengaluru FC, and our entire idea behind the club is to create a local team which people feel very passionate about.
Did you ever think you might buy an international team? Have you ever thought about it?
No, because the idea was to help Indian football. It's not about football. It's about like helping India make it to the World Cup, and that's the only.
Do you think it'll happen in your lifetime?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think we're about maybe 3 or 4 World Cups away from being in qualifying.
Best of luck for that. That will indeed be good news for all of us. Kabaddi, that's your next bet.
Yeah. So I think Kabaddi is more of a commercial bet. It's not really. Kabaddi is not an Olympic sport. It's a very Indian sport, and it's something that we're getting into more because commercially it's become very viable. With JSW Sports, we are focused on 2 sides. One is our entire efforts are to promote Olympic sport, and we want India to do much better in the Olympics. So our program. Through our program, we won 1 medal in the Rio Olympics. In Tokyo, we're targeting 5. And so that's one side of our JSW Sports vertical, which is more social in nature.
So which are the 5 players that you've already started working with or
So
training?
we're targeting 30 Olympians actually across 5 disciplines, which are boxing, wrestling, judo, track and field, and swimming.
No archery?
No archery. No. These are the 5 sports we've identified. So we are approximately targeting 30 of them to qualify for the Olympics, and then we have about 5 to 8 medal prospects who have been identified right now. Going forward, we might identify more.
Can you share with us who are the ones?
So Vinesh Fogart is one of them in women's wrestling. Sakshi Malik again would be one of them in women's wrestling. Neeraj Chopra, who's the current junior world champion in javelin, he's one of our very big hopefuls. Then Vikas Kishan Yadav, who lost in the quarterfinals in Rio in men's boxing, he would be a hopeful for us. And then the 5th, there are a couple of candidates for the 5th medal. If we're able to sort out the entire nursing situation, nursing would be a big hopeful in the 74 kg category of men's. You have a Tejaswin Shankar in high jump, who's a big hopeful. You have a Lalita Babbar in the 3000 meter and the 10,000 meter steeplechase, who's a big hopeful.
So when you say hopeful, what exactly do you do? Do you provide them with funds so that they have the best access to coaching and facilities, etc.? Is that what you do?
So we've built India's only, the first private sector initiative. We've built India's first high performance Olympic training center. So this is across 45 acres of land. We have built a 50-meter swimming pool, a 400-meter track, a combat center, high performance center for their gym, etc. Located in Vijayanagar, right near our steel plant, where we are recruiting and scouting 300 of India's top junior athletes. So we have a full scouting program which goes to various states in the country, where we take kids as young as 9 years old, and our average age right now at the facility is about 15 years old, where they come and they train. We have international coaches there, and this is under the umbrella of the Inspire Institute of Sport, and we've visited some of the best high performance sports centers across the world to build this institute.
What about, you said Kabaddi is a commercial one, so coming back to that.
So that's what I was saying. So we have two streams. One is the Olympic promotion and trying to get India up there for both in the Olympics. The second is the commercial side of sports, where we have now the Kabaddi team. We have Bengaluru FC. There's all these talks of going into the ISL with the merger happening. And then obviously the big one would be cricket. So
yeah, when are you going to? The IPL auctions are coming up.
IPL is coming up next year.
Yeah.
But right now the teams are all
There'll be a couple of teams coming up, right? So
we don't know. If there are, that would be great. We would definitely be interested.
Okay. And Parth, with that, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us here on ET Now. Best of luck for all of your new endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/etnow.